Hello guys, please before we start make sure you subscribe, like, share and comment. In this video I'm gonna show you full installation of Gentoo using as many binary packages as possible. Mostly it may not be the best approach if you want to optimize your system, and it's not what Gentoo is meant to be. Gentoo is meant to be fast. That's why you compile your packages the way you like. You compile them with these flags that will help you optimize them. But this is not in the scope of this video. We will just see a simple installation of Gentoo, and it can be useful for those who have weak systems and computers that do not help them or allow them to compile, as well as those who are not so computer savvy, especially when it comes to Gentoo, so they aren't ready to choose their use flags or know about use flags, and they are not brave enough, if we can say, they aren't brave enough about the compiling things. Alright, so for this thing you need many things. You need an ISO if you are installing on a virtual machine, or you need a USB bootable drive with a live Linux media. It doesn't necessarily need to be Gentoo. So for such thing, to have the ISO, you can, for example, download this live GUI from Gentoo Linux in www.gentoo.org/downloads. You can use that one, or you can use, for example, Arch Linux. In my case, I will simply use Arch Linux Live ISO. I have the old one, but I will simply download the newest one just in case, because it's a little bit smaller than I don't need the GUI. Any one of them is fine. Gentoo can be installed using any media of Linux. So I downloaded my Arch ISO. For you, the process can be different, especially if you aren't going to install Gentoo on a virtual machine. You may need to create a bootable USB flash drive or a disk. For such thing, I didn't make a video about creating a bootable flash drive. If you want, I will make one. But for burning CDs, I made some videos about it. I may put them in the cards. So here, I'm gonna use VirtualBox to create the virtual machine for Gentoo. I'm gonna call it Gentoo bin. The ISO, I will select the ISO I'm gonna use, which I downloaded right now. This one, open. It has chosen the correct operating system, Linux and Gentoo. Next, all of this, if you are going to make a virtual machine, you can follow me. Otherwise, you may need to ignore all of this if you aren't doing the same. Next, for this, since we are installing using the binary packages, we may not need it to be this performant. We may not need all these RAM and CPU stuff. This, let's make it bigger. 64. Next, finish. Let's start it. For you, if you are on your computer, real hardware, and you put the USB flash drive which is bootable, and you created it successfully, you need to hit the button that takes you to the boot menu. In my case, it's automatic. So here press enter. If you have chosen Arch bootable CD like me, Otherwise, any other bootable Linux CD is fine, or ISO, as long as it has a terminal including TTY. Let's say Fedora. For Fedora, you can simply switch to the second TTY, and it's gonna give you a terminal, the console. So here I'm gonna prepare my SSH connection. For you, if it's real hardware, you don't need to do any of this. I'm gonna check my IP address. Yes, I need to change the settings. I'm gonna record all of this in case you wanted to do exactly the same thing. Here it needs to be bridged adapter because I'm connected through VNC to this computer which has this virtual machine, and I wanna make an SSH connection to the live CD so I can do the installation in the computer that I'm using as the client of VNC. Okay, so this is supposed to change, and we got our IP address. It's .148. Let me now open a new terminal. SSH root 10.0.0.148. You don't necessarily need to do this, it's optional. I just wanted to do it to make the appearance clear enough for you. Alright, so for this I don't need it anymore. So the next thing, you need to open the Gentoo handbook to do the installation following the correct instructions. I have it here. You choose the architecture. If it is a plain computer which uses AMD or Intel processors, it should be AMD 64. It can be something else. You need to know what it is in order to install. In my case, it's this one. So let's prepare the disks. You are always supposed to read the whole handbook, or at least the sections that are related to your use case, in order to do the installation correctly. Sometimes some steps depend on the others. Okay, so yeah, we will go with this. For such thing, there are so many tools to make these partitions, like fdisk or cfdisk or anything. So let's check what is our disk. It's SDA 64 gigabytes. As you can see, there is an extra option which is making a separate home partition, but it's like we may not need it since we will focus mostly on having a simple installation of Gentoo. You can make it anytime you want. So let's use fdisk /dev/sda, and then and keep it the same. First sector same, last sector. Here we want to make it following the wiki, so it should be +1 gigabyte. Enter. And for the swap, let's keep it like this. The first sector, last sector, let's make it 6 gigabytes. For the swap, you may need to read some articles about the recommended size depending on the size of your RAM and your needs. In case you want to hibernate your system, you may need it to be at least the same size as your RAM. If you have other use cases, you need to read the pages online, the articles from the developers and the communities about the recommended size. It varies from a use case to another, it varies from a perspective to another, so I cannot give the best size. Enter. Let's make the last partition. Yes, W to write to the disk. Alright, for you it can be something else. Doesn't necessarily need to be the same. Okay, so let's check our partitions. We have them there. Let's start with mkfs dot. Yes, and if you are using UEFI or your system is newer than having it with BIOS, you may need to change the way you format your partitions. You need to be very aware of it, read very well before you do any changes. All of this, you may need to understand what's going on. In my case, I'm gonna mkswap /dev/sda2 and then mkfs.ext4. This is also depending on your references. You choose whichever file system you want for your root partition, but the most common one and the most one that is used by Linux users is this one, ext4. Done. So now we have our partitions set correctly. We can also swap on or set the swap to be on by this command. Alright, that's done. Go to the next one. In our case, we are going with OpenRC. In a future video, we may make videos about installing or moving to systemd. We will accept also multi-lib. We are not going to be very strict about the architecture, so we're going to accept or let our system have both 32 and 64 bits. It's sometimes better. All of this, we don't need it. And all of this, I'm going to skip it. You may need to use it. So here we should get our stage 3. As I said, I'm taking OpenRC, so we download it like this. I guess there is no wget. I forgot to update the live CD for Arch. That's not updated. Let me focus on installing wget. Yes. So now we can download the stage 3. Alright, so it says it cannot write to the device, no space left. Alright, so let's mount. Probably we need to do that. We need to mkdir mnt Gentoo, and then mount /dev /sda 3 mnt Gentoo, and then mount /dev /sda 1 mnt Gentoo, not there. Later we will mount our boot partition. So now we can go to mnt Gentoo, and let's try to run the command again. Yes, I'll pause the video. So I got the error, which is right error, no space left on device, because I forgot to run the command, which is this one, and it is in the previous page of the wiki or the handbook. So I ran it and I downloaded the stage 3 tarball, and I can now also mount, I can mount the boot partition. Let's make the boot mount point. Let's make the boot mount point. That's what I wanted to say. So here, and then /boot. Alright, and then we can move back and remove. Here we check what we have. Let's go to, and then remove the stage 3, so we don't keep facing this error, right error, no space left on device. That's clear, and now it's time to decompress that archive that we downloaded. The stage 3 is an archive, a tarball. So all of these steps, I skipped them, but it doesn't mean they aren't needed. You may need to do them. So we untar, cd mnt Gentoo, run it again. Yes. We wait for it to enter it. It's done. Clear it, and let's go to the make.conf to change some stuff. Alright, so here in the common flags we add march at the beginning here. For you, it doesn't necessarily need to be native. You may need to find what is the one that matches with your processor and put it here. And then the next thing that we need to do is the make opts. For this one, needs to match with your computer performance, the RAM and the threads. In my case, I'm just gonna keep it 3 and save it and exit. For you, depending on your CPU, you change it the way you like. Now let's install the base system. Let's copy this. I don't know how this. Yes. Let's check if we have it copied correctly. Gentoo. Let's see. Resolve.conf. Alright. Mountain the necessary. We copy and paste all of these ones, although we can simply use arch root just in case you did not choose to run or to use the arch live ISO. Simply run all these commands like I'm doing here. Otherwise, all these commands can be simply replaced with arch root. Like this. Copy them and paste them correctly. This one. Alright, these three commands with this warning, you may need to run them and you may not need to. Just see in case you face any errors. It can be because you need to run those commands. Then now it's root to be in our live or our newly installed Gentoo. Of course, it's not fully installed. I'm gonna skip this whole command. I don't need it. If it is a UEFI system, you may need to run these commands. For us, we have run this command before, so we don't need it. For this one, you need to install mirror select. I did not install it, so I'm not going to run it. I don't need it. Now we run this command. Because you don't need it yourself, because eventually Portage will choose the fastest mirror, I guess. Now we copy this. This will make Portage use rsync. I made a video about how to make it using become using Git, which is faster. I will put it in the cards for you. So now let's check the newly copied one. Yeah, I told you it's rsync. It's not supposed to be rsync. This section may need to be changed in the manual, otherwise it's fine. Let's run emerge-webrsync. Hi, emerge WebRSync is done. We can also run emerge sync. In the handbook it says it's optional. Let's run it. It takes longer time, especially if you are using the rsync. It recommends you to install the newest version of Portage. Let's simply install it. Should do the same. It's not a very big package. It will compile it. After we ran the command emerge WebRSync, we got some news that can be read. I'm gonna ignore that for you. If you wanna simply read them, you can run the command eselect news list or eselect news read. There are some changes that happen from time to time. You may need to know what's going on your system. So now we can check what is the profile. Let's double check. It may not be needed if you have chosen the correct profile or you have chosen the correct stage 3. In our case, we are just using the plain one, the default 17.1 stable. For you, if you are using anyone else, make sure it is the correct one by running this command, and then if it is wrong, you can simply run eselect profile set and then the number of the profile that matches with your choice. Alright, so this one is the main or one of the most important steps of our setup. Otherwise it's gonna be the same as any other setup that is made before, any other installation of Gentoo that you get before. We're gonna take this one as the previous video, since I don't care the origin of or the mirror of the binary packages. We save and exit. We go also to our make.conf again, nano, let's see, portage make.conf. We go to the last at the end, and we copy this, paste it here, space, and then we add this one as well in the same line. Let's save first, yes, and let's go back, since we will use variables or use flags. This one is very personal, depending on the personal reference. You can choose your use flags. For us, we're not gonna choose any one. We will stay with what we have, the ones that are chosen already. So let's run this command with the get binary package. Let's save. You can simply specify -J or G, not J, sorry, -G to get the binary package. Okay, we're gonna update all the system packages, but whenever there is a package that has the binary version for the installation, it's gonna grab it for us. This thing, we have seen it before, mostly in the video where I set up the binary repository for my Gentoo system. You can watch it, I will put it in the cards. It's the last video, simply. Right, so we don't have much packages to update. For you it can be something different. Here it's gonna replace with this binary package. This R means replace, and you can see all of our packages are binary. Press Y, press Y again, enter. I'm gonna pause the video. You can check how long it took me to update all those packages by seeing the time here. It's also with seconds. It won't take so long. However, I'm gonna pause for you. We updated, and now let's run the commands that follow. This one, this one also depends on your option, on your choice. I don't care about the time, so I'm just gonna copy and paste the way they are. For you, you need to copy it the way it is. You don't need to copy it the way it is. You need to choose the one that matches with your place. And let's run this to change to the new configuration. Yes. And then let's run this. This also, you choose with it the localization, choose whichever ones you want. I'm just gonna uncomment the ones for English US. That's it. Save and exit, and run the command locale gen. Your system won't break if you did not run these commands, I guess. Otherwise it's not wrong if you run them, just to make sure nothing is wrong. Yes, you can set here to whichever you want. In my case, I'm gonna set it to the second one, C.UTF-8. Yes. You can also run this one, but I'm not gonna do it because I don't want to change the language of the system. Okay, let's run this command to do all the changes, to apply them. For the kernel, let's run this. Always whenever you want to install any binary package, just add GAVG. Let's get Linux firmware. I guess Linux firmware is already binary. I don't remember it being compiled. That's why it's not gonna change anything. You may need this package for the drivers. Yes, so we need to accept the license. Let's copy all of this. And then nano license. Okay, let's make that directory first. It can be also file if you want. Now let's run this, paste this. Save and now run this one again. Press Y, enter. Look here for the microcode. I made a video about it. I will put it in the cards for Gentoo. So this one is for this new, the SOF firmware is for the new generations of the CPUs. We don't have a new generation. That's why I'm gonna ignore it. Now we install the kernel. I'm gonna, as I said, I'm trying to install as many binary packages as possible, so I will simply go with the syskernel, the binary kernel. Let's try to run the command like this, with this. Is it gonna give us a binary kernel, or we need to add the suffix at the end, -bin. Here it compiled somehow some parts of the package. I've seen it somehow, but it didn't take so long if you focused on the time there above. So yes, it's not. We're gonna cancel it and then run it with bin. instead of giving us Gentoo kernel like this, it's supposed to give us Gentoo kernel dash bin, the suffix and the name. Instead of Gentoo dash kernel, it's going to be Gentoo dash kernel dash bin. So we don't need to compile, but the cost for this is having a more bulky kernel. It's going to contain more drivers that you don't need, and it will match less with the philosophy of Gentoo, and your system will not be the fastest possible. But let's do it. I'll be back. So install the kernel, the binary one. We can run this command if you want. We usually run that command when we update some packages that are having extra modules for the kernel, just like we did in solving some errors. But I guess it's not needed so far. I don't need to do it. Yes. Now we run this command to build the init ramfs, which is already built, to be honest. Here I try to prove it. Where is it? I'm sure it is built, so I'm rebuilding it. Let me find where it is. Yes, this is my init ramfs built after I installed the kernel, the binary one. So this command is not needed. All of these ones, we probably don't need them, since we followed the method that will install the binary kernel as well as build the init ramfs with it. I told you it's built already, so it's redoing it, the same process. This one, in case you wanted to compile the kernel and choose those things that you want to install, drag out, we installed it. For this command we can run it if we want to make the init ramfs for the compiled kernel that we made. Alright, we are done for this page. Let's configure the system, mostly installing some applications like cron and stuff, as well as the fs tab and the bootloader. So let's go to our fs tab. Scroll down. So for our boot, it was, let me copy all of this. The boot, it was fat. For this, it's x extended 4, ext4. For this, I'll be back. So for the boot, it should be vfat, if I'm not mistaken. Let's save and exit. For the UEFI systems, if you are running one, especially for the newest computers, you need to do that. For the host name, let's copy this command and select or choose whichever we want. In our case, it's going to be Gentoo bin. The network, let's go with DHCPCD. It's fine. You can use network manager. We aren't focusing so much on the tools that we want to choose for this. We want to make it the minimalist and the simplest possible. The main thing that we're focusing on is making or installing as many binary packages as possible to replace the compiled packages. Why? It's installed, no need, let's not let's skip. Let's add it to the default level like this, and then I guess if we try to start it we cannot, since we are in the rooted environment. Yes, so NetEFRC, mostly it's for NetEFRC it's installed by default and I like it. We're gonna configure it. You can use it and it's not hard to use. It's also smaller than Network Manager. You can use Network Manager. This is this choice of the package. Yeah, this package is I mean, not something that everyone should choose, if I can say, or there are so many options and each one of them your personal choice is what you depend on to choose. That's run IPA. So this is our configuration. It's ENP0. Let's copy this and go here, paste it, config underscore equal DHCP. For you, if it's not DHCP, you can put the configuration following this. Alright, so let's save and exit, and then CD here, this, and then ENP. This doesn't necessarily need to be the same for the interface. You need to find yours and do the same like this. If you have chosen to use the NetEFRC, IFRC as the default network handling package, network control package or management. In my case, I have chosen it. For Network Manager, it can be something different. Default. Alright. This one also, let's do it. So here Gentoo bin dot local Gentoo bin space like that. That's it. Save, exit. Now let's make a password for our root user. Let's be clear, some combination of symbols and stuff may not be accepted for your password, so make sure it's quite complicated and quite complex as a password. So these ones we don't need to focus on so much. Let's check this one. Yes, this one depends on your choice. I told you I don't care about the clock, since this is a virtual machine and the purpose of the video is focusing on the binary packages. Alright, let's check let's install these ones. This one, we need it. As usual, AVG for the binary package. Yeah, so the next most important step is installing the bootloader to have a system that is working. That's what's missing for our system almost. Afterwards we will have our system running correctly. And despite trying to install as many binary packages and replace the compiled packages, source packages as possible, we still have some packages that are compiled. So let's put this in the default run level like this, and then let's install cronny. We always still have the option to install the binary package as long as it's available. If it isn't, we simply install, or the system will install the source package. Yes, so we got binary packages here. Five binary packages. Sometimes there is no big difference between compiling and installing the binary package. If you notice, let's put it to the default run level. We don't need the file indexing. If you want to do it, you can do it. We don't need to put the SSH server to be in the default run level. You can check also the init tab. If you want the shell completion, you can install this package if you want, it's optional. The time synchronization, let's do it, otherwise your system will not be on time. Time will not, yeah, let's install this package, because I faced this error but on Arch Linux, and I had to change or configure the time to be able to connect to the internet and so on. It was simply by installing this package, which is cronny with Y at the end. There are two, I guess, cronny with IE because for the cron daemons, and this cronny for the NTP. This protocol is called NTP protocol, which synchronizes the time of the system with the internet, so you can connect to the internet. Otherwise you're going to face some SSL errors. So let's prepare our command to put it in the default run level. Yes, it's done. Paste here. Done. Alright, file indexing, never mind it. I'm not gonna do it. For the networking, we configured it. If you have Wi-Fi also, you have to choose between network manager or WPA supplicant. I don't remember if IFRC, the default package for the network management for Gentoo, can be configured with wireless. I believe it can be. So let's go to the bootloader, which will help us have our system running. So let's put G. This package, when it's compiled, it takes some time, not as long as LLVM, for example, or WebKit GTK, but it takes some time. So let's install it. Press Y here, enter. I'll be back once it's done. Our bootloader is done installing. You need to put or add this line to your make.conf in case you are using UEFI. So let's run the grub install command. Just copy paste it here. Yes. And then we run this command to detect our kernel and get our system runnable, working. Yes, I guess we're done. The rest is for some alternative bootloaders. That's it. So let's simply exit from everything, and then you mount this. It's fine, like this, and then this. Alright, CD, run it again, like this. Never mind, let's reboot the system. Let's go back to our VNC connection, and this is the moment of truth. No, it's boot existing OS. Yes, this is our Gentoo grab menu. We did not install any GUI, we didn't install anything else. We just installed the plain system, the minimalistic system. We finish it. Let's boot as root, password. It's incorrect. Yes, so let's clear this, check if we got an IP address. Yes, let's ping google.com. Yes, so our network configuration was correct. That's what we need to worry about. You can run a merge sync. It's supposed to run so far. We can install some applications. Let's install, for example, htop. Sorry for that. AV htop. Here I didn't specify the flag for the binary one. I just want to make sure that it's connected to the internet and we can install packages and the configurations are all correct and valid. In case you followed me in everything, your system will be in a good condition and nothing to worry about. Yes, it's working as you can see. So our system is installed correctly. I guess that's it. I hope you enjoyed the video. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to subscribe, like, share and comment, and see you